With that story, the passing of IFP founder and Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi is a test for the party. And this is all according to Prof. Bheki Mngomezulu from the Center for the Advancement of Non-Racialism and Democracy at the Nelson Mandela University. Now, he's painted what the future holds for the party in an article. And Prof. Mngomezulu joins us now to unpack this. And thank you so much, Professor Bheki Mngomezulu. A pleasure having you on here because quite an insightful, article that you've written there in terms of what the future holds for the Inkatha Freedom Party. Let's talk about the figure that was President Emeritus of the IFP, the now late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, and what an astounding, significant figure he was within the IFP.
Thank you very much, my sister, for having me. Yes, indeed. First of all, I must commend all those who participated in planning yesterday's event. It was indeed befitting, a befitting send-off to the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. From government side, at national level and provincial level, and all other political parties that participated, and then, of course, the general membership and the general members of South Africa that attended that particular event. Buthelezi was one person who occupied different positions, and then he also made sure that he executed his responsibilities in all those positions. He is an envy to a number of politicians on many fronts. And when I talk about him, I normally say our point of departure should be that he was a human being and that he was not a saint. And this is against the backdrop of the fact that there are people who have focused solely on the positive side, and there are those who have focused solely on the negative side. And my view is, if you present one side of the late Buthelezi, you will be missing the point, because he embraced different identities and he performed different duties, be it in the political front, in the religious front, in parliament, and then, of course, as the traditional prime minister of the Zulu nation. So all those facets have to be factored in if you want to describe him satisfactorily.
Prof, would you say Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi was both the strength and the weakness of the IFP, in a sense that his mere presence could almost distract you from the IFP as a political party and focus on the figure, focus on the founder, focus on its leader, and perhaps now that he's passed on, leaving a shadow with which leaves a lot of work for the likes of current leader Velenkosini Tlhabisa to almost try and shake off as they try to continue drawing support for the IFP without Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi's presence?
Absolutely, absolutely. The fact that Inkatha was formed in 1975 and Buthelezi was the only leader of the party from that time up until 2012, when then 36-year-old Inkosi Mzamo Buthelezi from Mbongweni was elected as the deputy. So until 2012, Buthelezi was the only leader of the party in terms of the presidency. Of course, there were other people in the top executive, but he was the only president. Then from 2012, there was then a deputy, and then there were speculations that there was Inkosi Buthelezi, that is Inkosi Mzamo Buthelezi, was going to ascend to the position. Then, unfortunately for him, fortunately for Tlhabisa, then the leadership of the IFP then decided that Velenkosini Tlhabisa should be the one taking the reins from Buthelezi. But since assuming this position, it has not been easy. I must say, it has not been easy on different fronts. One, you would have seen that on the eve of the 2019 general election, there were speculations that the IFP was going to have an elective conference, which is what is normally the case whenever we are going for an election. But unfortunately, that election had to be called off at the 11th hour, and the official position from the party was that branches were not ready. And some of us were saying that this might have been a political blunder if the IFP had held that election on the had that party election on the eve of a general election, and were vindicated when only after the election did the IFP then hold its 35th conference, wherein Tlhabisa contested that position against no one. In fact, he took that position without any contest. So then he assumed that position. But the problem is that even after he had officially been enthroned into that position, you saw the face of Mangosuthu Buthelezi on the T-shirts of the IFP. And there were people who were saying that why should we have the face of the old leader when you now have a new leader. And the explanation from the party was that they were doing that deliberately in honor of Buthelezi, basically appreciating the role he had played since 1975. And then the understanding was that come 2021 local government election, Hlabisa's face will be there. Then you might have seen that there was a time when you had some T-shirts with the Hlabisa's face,
Right.
other T-shirts with Mangosuthu Buthelezi's face. So I think that is one thing that Hlabisa will have to deal with now that Mangosuthu Buthelezi is no longer there.
So, Prof, before I let you go then, in my last question to you, I just want to quote the IFP president, Velenkosini Hlabisa, saying that he'll ensure that the IFP remains a force to be reckoned with in terms of rebuilding the country. And I've spoken to many, political analysts just during this time, after the announcement that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi had passed on, building up to his burial yesterday, saying that the timing of his passing is quite sensitive because we're going to general elections next year, and perhaps his presence would have been, obviously appreciated by the party, obviously been counseled. He would have been consulted during that process of campaigning for next year's general election. So when IFP leader Velenkosini Hlabisa says that he'll ensure the IFP remains a force to be reckoned with, what amount of work lies ahead of him in terms of garnering that voter confidence, garnering the support for the IFP post the era of Mangosuthu Buthelezi?
Two issues, my sister. The first one is that the next year's election will be a tough one for the IFP, for the simple reason that no election has ever happened without Buthelezi being available,
Right.
either as a leader of the party or as someone that they could consult. Now he's no longer there, so it means they'll have to stand on their own. But then secondly, the statement made by Hlabisa is a correct one. As a leader of the party, you don't have to come from a deficit point of view. You have to be bold and then tell your people that I'm here, you elected me, I'm leading this party, and I'm going to continue from where Buthelezi left off. But he can't do that alone. He needs the support of the collective, the leadership of the party, and then he also needs the support of the membership. The question is, will he get that? Will he get the support from the senior leadership? Will he get support from the membership? We'll just wait and see. But his statements were absolutely correct. Any other leader would have said the same.